Amelia Carter was born in a small town in America. From the moment she opened her eyes, the world appeared blurred and distant. Doctors later confirmed that her vision would never fully develop. As she grew older, the darkness became a constant companion. She could see light and shadow, but faces and details were always unclear. Children at school often asked strange questions. Some felt sorry for her. Others believed she would live a limited life. But Amelia had a mind that refused limits. She listened more closely than others. She memorized sounds, movements, and spaces. Her father worked near a small airfield. Every weekend, he took Amelia with him. She would stand near the fence and listen to the roar of airplanes. The sound of engines vibrating through the air filled her heart with excitement. She imagined the sky as a wide open world with no walls. While other children dreamed of toys, Amelia dreamed of flying. When she told people she wanted to be a pilot, they laughed softly or changed the subject. Some told her blindness made it impossible. Others said aviation was not made for people like her. At night, Amelia lay awake imagining the feeling of lifting off the ground. She pictured clouds as soft waves. She memorized every sound of every plane that passed above her house. In her mind, she was already flying. School was not easy. Reading took longer, learning required extra effort. But Amelia never gave up. She trained her memory like a muscle. She learned to navigate spaces using sound and touch. One day, her teacher asked students to write about their future. Amelia stood up and spoke instead. She said she would become a pilot. The room fell silent. Her teacher gently suggested more realistic goals. Amelia went home crying that day. But her tears turned into determination. She promised herself she would prove the world wrong. She began researching aviation using audiobooks. She listened to interviews of pilots. She learned every rule, every sound, every procedure. Years passed, and her vision continued to decline. By the time she reached adulthood, she was legally blind. But her dream remained sharp and clear. At 21, Amelia walked into a small flight school. The staff were confused when she explained her condition. Some refused immediately. Others said it had never been done. But one instructor listened carefully. He did not promise success. He only said they could try. That moment marked the beginning of a journey that would change history. Amelia began visiting the flight school every morning. The smell of fuel and metal became familiar. She learned to walk confidently across the runway using sound and vibration. Each step closer to the airplane felt like a step closer to her dream. Her instructor, David, spoke calmly and clearly. He explained every control in detail. Amelia touched each switch, lever, and dial. She memorized their position and purpose. Her fingers replaced her eyes. At first, she only sat inside the cockpit, listening to the hum of systems, feeling the vibration of the engine, learning how the aircraft responded to movement. David installed audio-based instruments. Altitude, airspeed, and direction were spoken through a headset. Amelia trained her ears to process multiple sounds at once. She learned to react faster than sighted students. Other trainees watched from a distance. Some whispered in disbelief. Some thought it was a waste of time. Amelia ignored them. Ground training was intense. She studied aviation laws, weather patterns, and navigation. She listened to lessons late into the night. Her mind absorbed information like a map. Her first taxi lesson was terrifying. The aircraft moved under her control for the first time. Her hands trembled, her heart raced, but she kept breathing. David guided her, voice steady and firm. She followed instructions precisely. The plane moved smoothly along the ground. When it stopped, Amelia smiled wide. She had done it. Weeks turned into months. Amelia faced setbacks. Some days she struggled to interpret sounds. Other days her confidence faded. Once she nearly veered off the taxiway. Fear gripped her chest. But David stopped the plane calmly. He reminded her mistakes were part of learning. At home, Amelia doubted herself. She wondered if the world was right. She wondered if her dream was too big. But every time a plane passed overhead, her heart answered the question. She returned stronger. She practiced simulations endlessly. She trained her spatial awareness. She learned to feel the aircraft through vibration and movement. Then came the moment she had dreamed of, her first assisted takeoff. The engine roared louder than ever. The runway rushed beneath the wheels. David spoke commands steadily. Amelia followed every word. The ground faded, the vibration changed, the aircraft lifted. Amelia gasped as she felt weightlessness. She was flying. Tears filled her eyes, not from sight, but from emotion. Years of doubt fell away in that moment. They flew for several minutes. David handled most controls, but Amelia maintained direction and altitude. She listened to the sky. When they landed safely, Amelia sat in silence. Her dream was no longer imaginary. News slowly spread through the flight school. People began watching with curiosity. Some offered encouragement, others still doubted pilots. But Amelia no longer needed approval. She had tasted the sky. After mastering basic flight, Amelia began more complex lessons. She learned crosswind landings, emergency procedures, and navigation over long distances. Every lesson pushed her limits. Every mistake taught her patience. Her confidence grew, but so did the challenges. Air traffic control communications were fast and sometimes confusing. Weather could change without warning. She learned to trust her instruments and her instincts. Flying solo seemed impossible at first. The thought of taking off alone filled her with fear. She spent nights imagining every possible scenario. She rehearsed every command in her mind. She prepared for every sound, every vibration, every signal. Finally, the day arrived. Amelia would fly solo for the first time. David stayed close by on the radio. She sat in the cockpit, feeling every control under her hands. The engine roared as she taxied toward the runway. Her heart pounded as she began the takeoff roll. The wheels lifted from the ground and she felt the sky embrace her. She listened carefully to her instruments. She adjusted speed and altitude. Her body moved instinctively. Minutes stretched into eternity. The world below appeared in shapes and vibrations. She was alone, but not afraid. Every sound guided her. Every instinct protected her. When she circled back for landing, her palms were sweaty, her mind focused. She guided the plane smoothly to the runway. Touchdown was perfect. David spoke over the radio. He congratulated her. Amelia smiled wider than ever. She had done it alone. Word of her solo flight spread quickly. Local news wanted interviews. Aviation communities debated her achievement. Some still doubted legally blind pilots could fly. Others celebrated her courage and skill. Amelia began attending conferences and seminars. She shared her story. She explained her training methods and technology. She encouraged others with disabilities to dream big. Her story inspired not only aspiring pilots, but anyone who faced limitations. Government aviation officials eventually noticed. They reviewed her training and achievements. They saw a pilot who had mastered the skies through determination and skill. Policies were adjusted to allow more research and accessibility in aviation. Amelia continued to fly. She explored the skies over mountains, rivers, and cities. Every flight strengthened her confidence and resolve. She knew she was paving the way for others. Despite recognition and success, Amelia remained humble. She remembered the little girl who listened to planes from the fence. She remembered the doubts and fears that almost stopped her. Now she soared above them all. Her dream was reality. Her life was proof that limitations exist only in the mind. Amelia had become a symbol of determination and courage. She received invitations to speak at schools, universities, and aviation clubs. People listened in awe as she described how she overcame blindness to fly. Her story reached beyond the aviation world. It inspired athletes, entrepreneurs, and dreamers everywhere. She faced new challenges as she aimed for a pilot license that would allow her to fly independently without any instructor assistance. The examination was strict and rigorous. Aviation officials monitored every detail. They wanted to ensure safety and compliance. Amelia accepted the scrutiny calmly. She knew she had prepared for this moment for years. Training intensified. She practiced emergency procedures for engine failure, navigation errors, and unexpected weather changes. She trained herself to remain calm under pressure. She learned to interpret every sound and vibration as information. Her memory and reflexes became sharper than ever. On the day of the final test, Amelia arrived at the airfield early. The sun was rising and the sky glowed with soft light. She ran through her checklist. Every lever, switch, and instrument was familiar to her. Her heart was steady, her mind focused. The examiner gave instructions, and Amelia executed them flawlessly. She maneuvered through takeoff, altitude changes, and turns. She navigated over rivers, forests, and mountains. She adjusted to changing winds and unpredictable sounds. Her senses worked as one with the plane. When it was time to land, she approached with precision. The wheels touched the runway smoothly. The examiner smiled. He shook her hand and announced that she had passed. Amelia had officially become a licensed pilot. She was the first legally blind woman in America to achieve this. News outlets covered her story nationwide. She appeared on television, radio, and online platforms. Her achievement sparked debates about inclusion and accessibility. She received letters from young people with disabilities expressing hope and admiration. They told her that her journey gave them courage to pursue their own dreams. Amelia did not stop there. She began collaborating with engineers and aviation experts to develop audio-based cockpit systems. She trained instructors on how to teach students with disabilities. She flew to remote locations to raise awareness about aviation opportunities. She shared her skills generously. Flying became more than a dream. It became a mission. She combined passion with purpose. Every flight reminded her of the little girl who once listened to planes from the fence. Every student she inspired reminded her of the power of determination. Amelia understood that the sky was not only her achievement, it was a canvas for anyone willing to believe in themselves. She knew that limitations exist only when fear is stronger than courage. Amelia continued flying across America. Every flight was a reminder of her journey and determination. She visited schools, universities, and aviation clubs, sharing her experience. She inspired young pilots and people with disabilities. Her story showed that courage, persistence, and belief could overcome any obstacle. She worked with engineers to improve aviation technology for visually impaired pilots. Her suggestions led to more accessible instruments and audio-based navigation systems. She trained instructors and created programs to encourage students with disabilities to pursue aviation. Her mission was clear: to break barriers and open the skies for everyone. Amelia received awards and recognition for her achievements. She met other trailblazers and leaders. She never allowed fame to change her humble nature. She remembered the little girl who listened to planes from the fence. She remembered the doubts, fears, and obstacles she had overcome. Her flights took her over mountains, forests, and cities. Every takeoff reminded her of hope. Every landing reminded her of accomplishment. She felt connected to the sky and to every person who dared to dream. Communities celebrated her courage and innovation. Media shared her story worldwide. Letters poured in from children, adults, and aspiring pilots expressing gratitude and hope. Amelia knew that her journey had inspired others to challenge limitations and pursue their dreams. As years passed, she became more than a pilot. She became a symbol of determination, courage, and possibility. Her life proved that limitations exist only in the mind. Her achievements created opportunities for generations to come. Amelia looked at the sky each day and remembered her dream. She knew that dreams could become reality with patience, effort, and belief. She continued flying, teaching, inspiring, and breaking barriers. Her legacy soared higher than any plane she had ever piloted. The sky belonged to those who dared to believe. Her journey was complete, but her mission continued. She had turned impossibility into reality. She had shown the world that courage and determination could rewrite limits. She had become an inspiration for anyone willing to follow their dreams. Her story ended in triumph, a life of courage, perseverance, and limitless possibility.